Hello everyone, welcome to Analog IAS Current Affair Analysis for 26th of December 2020. In this video, we'll be discussing these couple of issues. This article titled Article 356 and an Activist Judiciary is taken from the Hindu. Before getting into the details of this article, let me explain the brief background in which this case is set up and why we are discussing this particular issue. When deciding about putting the power in the hands of the institutions, our constitutional makers have decided upon two important principles that will decide how the powers in institutions should be arranged. One is the separation of powers, and secondly, it is the checks and balances. So, taking a cue from this separation of powers, our constitutional makers have decided that our government consists of three wings, namely legislature, judiciary, and executive. So there is no watertight compartment as such between legislature and executive, but there are certain principles where judiciary is not expected to enter. Definitely, judicial activism is good, but judicial overreach is not. Now, what do you mean by judicial overreach? If judiciary comes into the domain of legislature and decides what is right and what is not, even before certain actions are taken, then it is called judicial overreach. What is the role of judiciary? It is supposed to say after a law is made whether that is constitutional or not. Its primary role is to act as a safeguard, not legislate. If ever it is found that the legislature is not acting, it can give certain directives. That is judicial activism, which is acceptable. For example, take the case of police reforms. A lot of reforms were pending from the legislation side. That is why in 2006, the government was given a directive from the judiciary in the form of Prakash Singh case directives. That is a good example of judicial activism. Now let us come to the present example of judicial overreach. So the Andhra Pradesh High Court has recently said that it will look into the misuse of constitutional machinery in the state, or whether any constitutional provisions are not being followed in the state. If you take a close look at the article 356, this is the language used in article 356, and it is not the responsibility of the judiciary to see whether constitutional means are followed or not in the state. It is the role of governor. Actually, it is a role of president, and through governor, president will be overlooking whether the directives are being followed or not. And if the governor feels that the constitutional machinery is falling apart, in that case he will inform it to the governor, and there will be a president's rule as per the article 365 provisions, where the president feels that it is no longer conducive for the government to continue because it is not taking the directives from the center and the constitutional procedures are not being followed. That is what we know as constitutional emergency or president's rule. Now, why is the judiciary entering into the domain of the executive in this particular case? This is not the domain of judiciary. So in this case, what happened, the precursor was High Court of Andhra Pradesh has also given a gag order on not speaking about a particular land deals, and revealing details about that is akin to contempt of court, which is against freedom of speech. There is criticism from a lot of people that these sort of gag orders will undermine the credibility of judiciary because it is restricting the freedom of speech. So this present order given by the High Court of Andhra Pradesh that it will look into the constitutional machinery of the state has been stayed by the Supreme Court, citing that it is an unusual activity, and it is a sort of a distressful situation when judiciary enters into the domain of the legislative and executive. So this is a right move. Now let us examine how Article 356 is one of the issues that we have to discuss in this particular context, and what are the provisions with respect to that. The major debate of this article is the relevance of Article 356. So what happens as per Article 356 is a democratic government which has been elected by the people will be dismissed by the center. So the center state relations are being questioned in this, in the context of the order that was passed recently by the High Court. So we are questioning the very constitutional basis of this Article 356, wherein the states are dismissed arbitrarily. There were instances where this happened. So as an agent of the center, governor has a very large role in determining whether the constitutional machinery is functioning properly or not. His report becomes all the more vital. So there is every chance that, given the fact that governor is not elected but is rather appointed by the president upon the decision of the Council of Ministers or the advice of the Council of Ministers, it is very much possible that governors will become mere agents of center. In that case, Article 356 is considered to be a antithesis for the idea of federal democracy. As a matter of fact, Article 356 has been used 125 times since independence across various states. In almost all the instances, President gave his assent for this, except in two instances where our ex-president K.R. Narayanan has sent back the recommendations to the cabinet, and as well as he refuted the charges presented by the governor in Bihar in September 1998. The same issue has been noted in S.R. Bommai case as well, and certain guidelines were laid with respect to when this Article 356 should be used. Even Sarkaria Commission and Punchi Commission have come up with a lot of recommendation on these issues. These are detailedly discussed in the normal classes, so you can go through those materials. The second article for the day, the fallout of keying in the wrong labor codes, is extremely important because of the recent Wistron incident that happened in Bangalore. So let me get into the details. There is a company which assembles parts for iPhone. So this is a Taiwanese company and it is called Wistron. So what happened was, after the pandemic, the government has eased out a lot of labor reforms, and certain other incentives were given in the form of production linked incentives. So electronic manufacturers have set up their plants in India, and Wistron is a simple assembling company which gathers iPhone parts from different parts of the world and assembles them in this unit. What happened in this was, the workers were overworked and they were not given payments on the stipulated time. So as a result, they have resorted to violence to hold the management accountable for whatever is happening. Even the head office of Wistron in Taiwan has acknowledged this fact and has ensured that it will take necessary measures against the persons responsible for this incidents. However, it has also mentioned that it would be relooking at the facility, whether it wants to continue or not. Clarity on this aspect has not been given yet. So this incident is a wake-up call for both the center as well as state governments. In the name of ease of doing business, we cannot afford to do away with rights. Now, when there are provisions which give the possibility to the employer to exploit the workers, previously we had the Factories Act of 1948, which talked about the quality of work, whether it is the number of hours that a factory worker should work, whether it is the overpayment, or whether it is about the general conditions of work. All these were there in the 1948 Factories Act, but recently it was repealed, and there were provisions which ensured that the workers can work beyond the stipulated 8 hours of time and they can earn more. But as evident from the testimonies given by a lot of these laborers, lot of them did not get even their salaries, forget the overpay. As a result, they have resorted to violence and raise the entire building. So this pandemic cannot be used an excuse to do away with rights. India is not China. India cannot adopt the Chinese model because India is a democracy and the largest one in the world. So we have to ensure that laborers get their due rights. What the government must actually focus upon is ease of compliance rather than doing away with compliance. Because what happens in the longer run if rights are taken away is similar incidents. We have also had the infamous Manesar incident in Haryana where a Maruti factory manager was killed by the employees in this fit of rage because their rights were not recognized. So there is a fine balance between the socialistic tendencies of worker unions of the pre-LPG era and the present times where corporates are trying to exploit them. There should be a fine balance between both the worlds. Therefore, this is an opportunity to relook at how we are envisaging the rights and also development at the same time. There have been a lot of instances as to how the reforms taken up by various governments are against the conventions laid down in the International Labour Organization, and this foundation is shaken up by these set of new reforms. These are not actually reforms because they are in favor of the corporates rather than the rights of the labor unions. So certain minimum middle ground should be arrived at so as to avoid this sort of situations, or at least even if they are pro government, the governance should be in such a way that it is always ensuring whatever minimum is promised by the law. If compliance of law is also taken for granted, this type of incidents will again repeat in the future. So what should we do at this moment? For starters, we have to arrive at a minimum wage concept that is found in many of the Western economies. The minimum wage concept exists only on paper at this moment, and a lot of companies are found to be flouting these norms. So, this minimum wage should ensure dignity of living rather than just mere survival. So, for that to happen, we need to have a concrete data on earnings, and we have to formalize a lot of economy activities. So in this situation, the focus should be on formalization, data gathering, and compliance. So these are the basic prerequisites for the success of Atmanirbhar Bharat, along with the other reforms that are being taken up. That is the gist of this article.